This is the standard release for part 1 of Cooking with Cannabis. If you like what you hear, check out our extended cut, which will be coming out in 3 days from now. And we go deeper into the industry as a whole, gold hot sauce, and even some at-home remedies if you smoke too much weed. So enjoy part 1 of 2 of Cooking with Cannabis.
Using nitrous, you can force infuse anything.
What would be the step-by-step process?
First you buy an S10 and then you drop it. You have some wheelie bars in the back and then you turn the nitrous on.
Fucking wheelie
You know what? You need a spoiler too. You need a
Nitrous.
spoiler.
Welcome back to Arsenic Culture. I am Matt.
And I'm Jason.
And we have a, was that a question?
It was a question. I've been watching football. I'm trying to get those like pro football things down.
Jason?
I'm gonna come up with better ones.
Okay, sounds good. We have our good buddy Pierre Swain back with us.
Hello.
How are you doing?
I'm good.
I say back with us because you have actually been here before.
Yeah.
And we did a whole, I think we did
Two episodes.
We did
We
two
did two
episodes.
episodes.
with
They were
Pierre.
great. They were great.
And we lost both those episodes, along with like 3 other ones because we had audio issues, but we've graduated our
Not
audio,
anymore.
I
We got
think.
these little things
I know,
right here.
The
We're
little
good.
things,
We're good.
yeah.
We're professional now.
Pierre cooked us a full meal last time.
Yeah,
Like it
Pierre
was,
actually
it was
made a
legit.
full meal. So Pierre is a sous chef over at Minton's,
Yes,
and he
sir.
brings like a air fryer, and he's all like, you were decked up like
I
in
was,
work
I
gear and
was.
everything. You have your, I've almost called it a kimono. What is
Chef's
it?
jacket.
Chef's jacket.
Yeah, the gi. He was wearing his like chef's gi, and he was like just like cooking over here on the side, and me and Jason are just like looking at our phones and being like, we didn't bring anything, man. And, like he came prepared. So man, we appreciate you doing that. We brought you back.
course.
I was like, leave the cookware at home, just try to make it a little bit easier for you. But thank you for coming back again and redoing this with
Yeah,
us.
man, my pleasure.
Yeah, how are you
Absolutely.
doing?
I'm good. I'm excited.
Yeah.
Ready to do it.
Tell everybody again a little bit about you. You are the chef over at Minton's.
Yes, sir.
You've been there for a while.
I've been with Minton's now it's been almost 8 years,
Oh,
if
wow.
I'm correct.
Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
it's
Like
been
4
about
or
8
5.
years.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it's amazing, man.
and
It's
you
amazing.
enjoy cooking. That's
Oh, for sure. I graduated from high school with 2 years in Southside Culinary, and then I went to actual CTE, and I did 9 months there, graduated with excellence.
Okay.
And then I started working for Minton's, and truly has been amazing. I love that place. I love the people I work with. They are my family at this point,
That's
for
awesome.
sure.
I got to
For
say,
sure.
I had not been there before until about the last 6 months, and it
Yeah.
was fantastic.
Awesome.
My son and I went there for brunch, and it was really good.
That's
really
what I
good.
wanted.
and you all had the food truck. The food truck is not
Not
rolling around
anymore.
Yeah.
It's old. It honestly needs repairs, things like that. Honestly, at this point, we are possibly looking into getting another location.
Okay.
You didn't hear that from me.
Didn't hear a thing.
But it's,
Can we-
fingers crossed.
Can we not hear from you where it might be, or is that not in the...
No, don't do that. Don't do
Yes,
that. Don't do
but
that.
no.
Okay, that's
Don't
fine.
do that.
So,
Hold on,
so
hold on.
yes,
off
but
there.
yes, but no. But yes,
find
I'm very
out.
excited for it. It's very promising. We've been really busy, man. We absolutely killing it down
Yeah.
there at
You were
on
packed when
Limestone.
I went.
Man, it's stupid,
Yeah.
and it's been that way every single weekend. So at this point, it's a female-owned business. She's been there for I think it's been 15 years now.
Really?
Wow.
And so, I mean, it's amazing. And
Yeah.
she's one of the only locations to actually not only stay there, she was one of the original locations, and she's also survived through COVID. Like, it's
That's
been,
tough.
yeah, it's been
That's tough.
amazing.
That says a lot.
Yes, not only survived, we thrived through COVID. So,
That's
I mean,
awesome, man.
it is awesome. And it's truly a blessing to work there. And I'm excited to see where Minton's grows in the future, for sure.
I'm really excited to get into the meat of what we're doing, so to speak.
Yes.
You are an aficionado on cooking with cannabis.
I try.
I know this from experience, and I mean, some of the shit you put together is absolutely phenomenal. So we've had many conversations about this, and the knowledge that you put out there, it's just mind blowing. And you get into some of the nuance, and I'm just like, hold on, like let me take some notes and shit. You know what I mean? So I was like, we got to do this. So this will be a long episode, but this is gonna be a 2-parter.
I'm worth it, I promise.
I'm really excited about this. And then to kind of commemorate, we tried to get the dankest IPAs we could. So
the best we had.
And Hot Butcher out of Chicago, they just landed in town. So
From No One Distribution. No one's been on our show before. Thank
from
you, No One.
Michael Nolan,
Appreciate
yeah.
it.
So we're drinking some dank IPAs. We're going to talk about cooking with weed. And After that, you're going to give us some of your favorite recipes. Is that
Yes,
right?
sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, I can't wait to get into it. So I'm going to open another beer here, and I'm going to kind of just let you talk about what you want to talk about in your methods of infusing.
Yeah.
And I'm a layman. I've never cooked with cannabis. I have
sure?
no idea how to do it. I don't even really smoke, honestly. I do
Absolutely.
edibles every once in a while. So,
sure.
But like, I think that's good. So I'm going to ask questions.
For sure. No, please.
And I want you to just give me knowledge.
So I guess the best place to start is one of the number one rules in consuming anything with cannabis, except for even with CBD, I won't even say except, is to start low.
Okay.
I think that's the rule that everybody's always heard the horror stories of
Just
eating
somebody
way too
taking
much.
something and getting freaked out and go to the hospital.
Yes.
And, yeah.
When you eat cannabis, one of the other main things is cannabis has to be decarboxylated, which you've heard me say this word a lot.
And what does that mean?
Decarboxylation is the process of heating actual cannabis flowers to turn the alpha acids into bioavailable forms of
As in
cannabinoids.
something you can
Like liquid?
metabolize.
Yes, as into something you can metabolize. That's exactly it. So if you were to take a nug, and also just to give you an example, here we go. Got some nugs here.
So you got a book there. It's Bon Appetit.
yes,
which
Bon
they have a
Appetit.
show also, right?
Yes,
I didn't
they
know
do.
this, but you
it's
all tell me.
it's amazing. Yes, so it's on Vice. If you've never seen it, highly recommend checking it out. It's an amazing show. It gives you a real true chef's input into what cannabis is and how that works.
But this is the book. Here, I'm just gonna pour you while you talk.
Appreciate
I'm
it.
gonna serve you.
Yeah, we owe him. We owe him. He served us last time.
Yeah, exactly.
And
yeah.
I still remember
So,
those potatoes.
with essentially with cannabis itself in its raw form. So if you were to go and take dried cannabis that you had hanging up, which is a whole nother conversation, we can get into at another point.
That'd
if
be
you
the
were
third show that we do.
Yes, there you go. But if you were to take a cannabis nug that was ready to be smoked, per se, and you were to start chewing on it, you would feel no real effects, essentially nothing at all. And that's because the actual cannabis itself, to be processed by your liver, needs to be decarboxylated. And essentially that is the process of heating it to where you convert everything that is an alpha acid to a converted form. So it's THC, CBD. So you're converting the THCA, which is tetrahydrocannabolic acid, to THC that is then bioavailable.
Okay.
We don't have to worry about this when we smoke, because when you light it on fire,
That's the
you're
decarboxylation method.
you're taking care of that process.
Makes sense.
So you do this method a few different ways. You can actually do it by baking your cannabis in an oven. You can do a double boiler method. There's a few different ways to actually decarboxylate cannabis itself. My favorite and preferred method is to just do it in the oven in either in papillote. So that's the French term for essentially wrapped in or envelope style for wrapping it in aluminum foil.
Gotcha. Okay.
Make it into a little pouch, wrap it up.
My wife's a hairstylist. I've seen her do that 1,000 times with
Yes.
hair, so I'm pretty sure I could do that.
So imagine just making,
this.
you literally just make like a little rectangle, put your relatively, the finer you grind your cannabis, the more green.
So you actually grind it up before you put it in there.
So
So
that
it's not
is-
just a whole.
That's
Okay.
that's a
It's okay,
That's
I'm
a
just-
preference. No.
Okay.
So it's not wrong. Some people will argue to death about that. It doesn't particularly matter. Honestly, in my personal opinion, it just makes you one step less that you have to do once it comes out of the oven.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
But yes, so you can also decarboxylate cannabis by doing it slower. And once again, it has a bunch of critiques. People say that you don't necessarily get the infusion liquid hot enough. So if you infuse in a slow cooker or something like that, you still the point is to get your cannabis to.
In a slow cooker with some sort of like liquid medium, or
So
just
yes, so you would put your cannabis inside, which once again, some people say to just do this all before in the oven, but you can put it inside of a jar, add your oil, your whatever neutral oil you want to use. So that can be grapeseed oil, vegetable oil, coconut oil is my preferred method. And then you actually half cap a jar and let it sit in the water.
Got you.
And you use that as your
like a
heat.
sous vide.
That's exactly it. And that was the next method, which you can actually
really?
serve.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
That's
You
cool.
answered that own question. You can actually sous vide not only the cannabis, but you can sous vide the infusion method as well.
So is there just like a standard temperature you need to adhere to?
So, and I want to make sure I'm 100% correct. So we're
So while
actually
you're looking
gonna,
that up,
yeah,
just a
go for it.
question of like, I'm trying to grasp this. So you put this into the oven, let's say,
Yes,
wrap
sir.
it in aluminum foil.
Yes, sir.
And then from there, you take the weed and you put it into like coconut oil. Is that what you're
So
saying?
yes,
So it doesn't like make it into an oil. It just like heats it up to be able to get that out of it.
you
right?
literally are just you have fresh toasted
Toasted
weed.
it. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Makes sense.
That's exactly what you're doing.
Okay.
You just have some fresh toasted weed.
All right.
Something else that I wanted to talk about in another part, but it actually works out perfect. You can actually decarb cannabis in animal fat.
Okay.
Interesting.
So butter, stuff like
Yes,
that.
but not just butter, bacon fat.
Okay.
Lard.
Even better.
Wow.
Tallow,
Even better.
Wagyu fat, things like that. If you
Now you're
really
talking.
wanted,
Now you're
if you
talking.
really wanted to like upgrade, step up that level of
Yeah.
infusion and things like that, and add the flavor, which is the main. That's what we're going for, right?
Exactly.
So if you heat your cannabis at a lower temperature, you essentially will then be preserving some of the actual terpenes, and in that process, you are preserving the natural flavors of the cannabis itself.
Okay.
Also, if you were to take and do that, like I said, in a slow cooker, then you would be infusing the oil with those natural terpenes. So you're still, once again, saving that flavor. You lose some of your THC
it's like killing two birds with one weed.
That's exactly. But I mean, it's exactly it. Fresh picked cannabis will not get you high if you eat it because it is non-psychoactive. THC found in its natural form is non-psychoactive.
Right.
But you want to, so this is the best part. So when you start to decarboxylate, this is the reason that a lot of people actually do sous vide and things like that to preserve your terpenes. Because not only is it your flavor and aroma molecules, but you can dial in what temp. So in sous vide, you then have a lot more control.
Exactly
And
right.
you're not, it's essentially using a double boiler method to the utmost advanced degree.
Okay.
So here, keep in mind, THC boils off at 314 degrees, which is very, very low. It's very low to what most people think it is.
So you have to be careful, or you're going to lose
Or you're going to lose
everything
THC.
that you basically
Exactly.
are working for and doing.
This is exactly
right in
it.
the beginning. Okay.
You should never come close to that danger point. Terpenes are even more volatile with delicate caryophyllene, which I'll explain these in just a minute. Caryophyllene is a terpene that is normally found in black pepper and things like that. Evaporating at 246. Tougher linalool, which is normally found in lavender, is cooked off at 388 degrees, and other well-known terps disappearing at points in between.
Okay. You said a lot right there.
Yes.
And I have a lot of questions.
Feel free to ask.
So again, terpenes.
Yes, sir.
What the hell are terpenes?
So with terpenes are the flavor and aroma molecules, and this one is actually really cool because it does describe something here that says whenever we use terpenes, the fragrant oils of cannabis varieties, they go into cold dishes. They are volatile at high temperatures, potent in flavor, and used much like other culinary extracts sparingly. So you use them in very, very small doses. I believe it is actually like 1 drop to every, I think it's 20 grams.
So do terpenes give you an effect of THC or CBD, or do they just give you the aroma and like taste?
Terpenes do not give you actually any actual effect.
Okay.
No,
Okay.
they
So
do
it's
not
more-
contain any actual THC or CBD. They are literally just flavor and aroma molecules.
Okay. And the one I have here is orange creamsicle.
These are steam distilled terpenes.
Okay.
I've used these in a few different recipes, things like that. They're very, very strong, obviously, when you smell them.
But this doesn't smell like weed.
No, these do
so
not.
like
No, not
orange
at all.
creamsicle,
So
what's
these are
called.
these are flavors. These are actual
These
flavors.
are freaking amazing.
They're-
But
they're really cool.
This came from a cannabis plant.
No,
These did not.
Not at all. So these are what's called BTD. These are botanical derived terpenes.
Okay.
These are derived from plants, different flowers, herbs, things like that. They blend them and make
I
these
see.
flavors.
Okay.
Oh, so it's not cannabis.
Not at all.
Terpenes is
not
a
at all.
it's a general
Yes.
thing.
So
I see, okay.
HDTs are hemp-derived terpenes.
Okay.
That are terpenes. Steam
So these are
distilled.
examples, and
Yes.
these are amazing. I'm gonna chuck. Can I
No,
chuck this?
no, dude, don't
What
do
will
that.
happen
do
if I
that.
chuck
Be
You will
this?
be
bitter.
very sick.
Okay.
Very sick.
So it doesn't taste
Yeah.
as good as it smells.
It does not
in
at all.
small
Yes.
amounts. I get it. I get it.
Those smell
Essentially,
great.
if
You
you
got
were going to,
waffle something, and then orange dreamsicle.
dreamsicle, yeah.
so you could actually take a drop of it and put it in your beer. That would be a good way to actually describe like what the flavor would
That's
be
the
like.
idea. Yeah,
that
that's
would be the way to go. It's honestly so strong.
So what do you use those for? Like cooking?
Yeah,
Just to add
for
to
food,
it? Okay.
absolutely. Candy, that would be another
Gotcha.
one that I like using them into. Obviously, you have to be careful once again with temperature, just because they're volatile at high temps. You can use them in vinaigrettes, things
okay.
like that. That would be a cool one because it's a
sounds good.
relatively cold thing. Syrups that aren't hot. So if you were doing infused honey, that would be a good one.
Okay.
So things like that. But yeah, they're absolutely. I mean, you can essentially anything cold you can infuse them into or mix them into, and they'll just. You can also use those to help pair with whatever you're having. I'm sad I didn't bring it. It was one thing I did forget to bring, but I made a batch of sugar that was infused using the ethanol, which is one of the methods I sent you.
Yeah.
Ethanol infusion. All of that to say that mango is one of the sugars that I actually made. I used fresh Florida mangoes. I used fresh Florida mangoes
Right.
to make a THC infused or THC and CBD 1-to-1 infused sugar. So I took granulated sugar, ethanol, alcohol, fresh mangoes, infused the mangoes and the Everclear and THC together.
So would you use that for like baking purposes or more just like finishing?
Anything.
Okay.
Because at that point, other than heating it, that's the biggest thing with baking. You don't want to heat it, so it would be a finishing. It would be a finishing product for that. But you can use it then for which is another thing I actually didn't bring. But you can do Fun Dip.
Okay.
Or things like that, pixie sticks.
I remember Fun Dip in the movie
yes.
theaters.
Just saying the word fun dip makes me want to say
Absolutely.
yay.
That little stick that sucked, but you got like
Yep,
lick it.
and it's literally called a lick-a-stick. I don't know if
it wasn't
you knew
good.
that.
Yeah.
But so I actually I'm a huge nostalgia candy fan.
yeah.
So in that kind of degree, I would love to go back and remake those kinds of candies.
Yeah, hell
so
yeah.
like sugar daddies, for instance.
Like
Yeah.
sugar daddies.
I would love to do that, make an infused sugar daddy.
Yeah.
But those are things you can do. You can definitely do that. The dreamsicle terpene, yes.
Yep.
So this one would be a prime example of the old school dreamsicle push pop.
Yeah.
Oh, it smells just like it.
That would be something that would be
orange
something
cream
cool.
soda, something,
So
yeah.
can you imagine a mango orange creamsicle?
That'd be awesome. Yeah.
But yeah, so little things like that are actually sound difficult. Excuse me, but they're actually relatively simple. They're really, really easy processes to make.
Let's get into those processes.
yeah,
I
so
would like
for sure.
to learn it
Yeah.
for sure. So
I'm here for it.
We're going sidebar.
What are
Sorry.
some of your preferred methods of actually infusing different foods with cannabis?
So as I started off, so you have sugar. Sugar uses an ethanol infusion method. Traditionally, that's the only method I've been able to figure out, and it's really cool because it's just it's volatile. It takes finesse, but also at the same time, it's one of those methods that you have to truly pay attention to. Cooking with cannabis can be fun. Cooking with cannabis can be invigorating, and it can also be dangerous as fuck. If you're cooking, it can be very dangerous.
Yeah.
Cooking with ethanol is a different beast because I am cooking.
Okay.
You're cooking with 190 proof alcohol.
Right.
So
You catch a spark, you catch a little flame, and everything goes up.
Exactly. So you got to make sure to vent wherever you're cooking. So my solution to that problem is I actually use 100 proof alcohol.
Okay.
I don't use I'm not a purist. I don't use Everclear. It's also relatively hard to fucking find.
You said that, yeah. You said people do use Everclear.
Yes,
but
a lot of people do. If you're looking for the utmost THC percentage, then absolutely. Some people are what we call THC sluts. They want to go for for all the percentages. You have to read the percentage on the back of the package just to make sure I'm getting
most
all of it.
potable they can get, yeah.
And honestly, that doesn't matter whatsoever. By the time that package has been put into a container and sent off somewhere and touched, especially if it's a clear package or a clear container and it's seen some sunlight, you've lost some of that THC.
the heat,
Yes.
I guess, yeah.
UV rays actually,
okay.
UV rays oxidize and kill THC.
It's the same with hops and
Yes,
beer.
sir.
Yeah, the same
Absolutely.
idea,
So
yeah.
that's why the brown amber bottles and brown amber containers have become a big thing. Black containers and things like that. Frosted.
Same with beer. You don't see the 22 ounce bombers anymore.
Yes.
If you do, or bottles at all, they're always amber.
Absolutely. And same, once again, very sister cousins. They truly do have the same.
Yeehaw.
I'm telling you, man, they have the exact same sort of principles behind them. So when you look at it that way, it makes a lot of sense. So with the sugar process, you take ice cold alcohol.
Gotcha.
Mine being Tversky, 100 proof vodka.
Yeah.
Which is terrible.
Yeah, that is so. That's the.
It's actually true. That's actually
well.
true.
That was
It is
in
terrible.
college. Like when
Yeah.
it's like you're going to a party. And it's like you got to grab a bottle of something.
Tavarsky.
and you get Tavarsky because it's literally the cheapest vodka that you can get.
There might be some
On the-
cheaper,
at
but
the ti-
it's the
at the
nicest,
time,
cheapest vodka.
Not even at the time. Like I'm pretty sure it was literally the cheapest like vodka
I think
you could get.
didn't Barton make it was cheaper? Heaven Hill.
I don't
maybe?
think so. I think you could
White
get like
Dog, yeah. They did actually.
who
There's
did
there's some cheaper.
They did their
there's some
White
cheaper
Dog. Heaven
vodka.
Hill did White Dog for a while there.
like 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, did
It's
they?
been a minute. Yeah.
See, no, but see,
You're
I don't
lying.
think I don't think their White Dog was readily available.
It wasn't White Dog. It was just like their cheap ass
Right.
Oh,
yeah.
Heaven
okay.
Hill House vodka.
But you
or
could
whatever it
go.
was.
You could go to like the corner gas station and get a pint of Tavarsky
Yes.
for like
It's
$2.
true. It's
You
true.
can go to your
True.
local neighborhood apartment and knock on the on the back door
Yeah.
and get you a couple Sprites and a pint of
See,
Tavarsky.
we have bootleggers where I was from. Same principle though. We had Kessler
you had,
and
you
then
had
that,
bootleggers
yeah.
and I had hood dealers.
Neighborhoods.
It's
Yeah,
bad,
just
man.
friends. Yeah.
Have you had Kessler before?
I had,
It's smooth as silk.
Smooth as silk.
That's what it
baby.
says anyway.
That is literally the motto.
It's actually not smooth as silk at all.
ever since I came to your house and I had the Malort.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
sorry.
That changed my
I'm
life.
sorry.
That
For the
changed my
worse,
life.
I'm sorry.
And so my friend Tim, which you've met, random side tangent, he loves Jägermeister.
Okay.
He's not had Malort.
Oh
Ooh.
shit. We can actually buy Malort.
Does he
in
also
Lexington
like
now.
shitting his pants? Because let's give him some Malort.
or losing your security deposit? That was
There
our,
you
that was our-
go.
I mean,
Yeah.
you know, hey,
Get in a fight with your dad.
he might be down for all three. You never know.
It's a trifecta.
But
That's called the Malort
I'm
trifecta.
down to do I want to do a Malort tincture.
we will get him some Malort.
I want to do I want to give him some Malort. I need to before I leave this earth.
We both have plenty to.
Yeah, we
Awesome.
got you.
I love it. He's got to experience the terribleness of Malort.
Oh, it's bad.
But I also want to do I have some fun peppers that I was given for free.
Nice.
Hot peppers.
And yes, and so I want to do a Malort tincture.
All right.
And do maybe I have some death spiral peppers.
Yeah, because I want to say Malort's. I think it might be 100 proof.
It is. I
yeah,
think it's
I think
right.
it
at,
is.
So it's perfect for a tincture, and I think making people have extra spicy, terrible Malort.
It wouldn't hurt. It wouldn't make it worse. I
No,
guarantee that.
not at
Extra
all.
spicy, terrible Malort shits.
Sounds
Yeah.
yes. Can you imagine having Ring of Fire? Yeah, sorry.
With Malort.
Yeah, with Malort. We're
Yeah.
I'm
So you
squirreling.
said you have to not freeze it out the Tavarsky,
So
but
no, so it's best to keep your solvent cold if you're using alcohol. So I keep it as cold as possible. It's essentially called a QWISO method. QWISO. Quick wash iso. It's
Gotcha. It's an acronym. I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it started.
I was like, what fucking
yes.
language is that?
So it started with isopropyl.
Okay.
People were washing, yes.
Okay.
So I know it's terrible.
Okay.
And I hate it because I don't agree with using isopropyl alcohol for anything that's going in your body. But people did it. So, and I guess if you purge enough of it out, you'll be fine. I don't know.
I mean, this is basically the same as like making cocaine. At that
Yes,
point.
for sure. I mean, everybody has their own method. People are trying to get their medicine. I get it.
Yeah.
It's not for me. So I never did that. I'm not putting isopropyl alcohol in my body. But so I used ethanol alcohol, which makes sense. It's food grade. So that is how you make, you take your frozen alcohol, your frozen cannabis, you grind it, and then you shake those two things together in a frozen jar.
Okay.
So that's called the QWISO method. Sorry, not QWISO. So QWISO is quick wash ethanol.
So is it merge with each other? Or will it separate? I was trying
So
to think like
the cannabis itself is the alcohol itself is used as a solvent to strip all of the cannabinoids off of the plant. So all of the things that you end up with when you make keef or in the bottom of your grinder and things like that, or the dust in the bottom of the bag,
dust,
things
okay,
like that.
okay.
The little bitty trichomes, which once again I have to explain, but the little bitty dots on the plant themselves are like dust. They're almost like dandruff, like pollen. That's exactly what they are.
Okay.
And so that product itself is alcohol solvent soluble. So it's alcohol soluble. It is fat soluble. It is. You can also use nitrous, which is another method we'll get into, which is what I was
that's what I like to
describing.
hear.
Yes.
Yeah.
So with ethanol, you're using the alcohol as a solvent. You strip the plant, you wash it, you shake it in this ice cold alcohol, and then you strain it. And you can do this method a few times. With that being
Like
done,
ice box from beer, just keep going.
that's exactly it. So, and also, I would also be very curious to see what this process would do with hops, because I would be very curious to see how it would work.
I bet they've done it, right?
It's to know someone's done it for sure. So essentially, you take your wash, what's left in the alcohol, and you strain it, and then you can take and choose to cook it down using a double boiler method, obviously, and little heat as possible, because one, it's volatile, and two, it's got alcohol in it. So
would that be the decarboxylation process at that point?
yes,
Gotcha.
That at that point you would be going low and slow, because
And every time I say it, I fuck it up.
so
But I'm gonna get it.
so you're actually perfect. If it helps, you can just say decarb.
Don't tell him that. Don't tell me he's perfect. It just goes to his head.
You're okay.
He's not. He's decent.
It's already in my head. It can't get any more in my head.
Oh my God, it's coming at me. It's everywhere.
So in that process, you're actually using the heat to not only reduce and cook off the alcohol, any residual alcohol left, but you're also going to be reducing down and strengthening your leftover product. So that alcohol solvent, the queso can then be used in sugar, salt, things like that. You take a tray, you fill it full of salt or sugar, you dump over your alcohol, you mix it really well, and you can choose to bake it off. You don't have to, because you will lose, obviously. Anytime you add heat, you're going to lose something.
Yeah.
So there's that process as well, but also just allowing that to sit. Some people just let it sit. And you can, my method is using a proofing setting on your stove, on your oven.
What do you mean?
What's
So
that?
the bread proofing. So
I don't fucking bake, dude.
okay, so you're good.
I don't know either.
So if I'm correct, I think the bread proofing setting on your oven is like 195. So it's one of the lowest settings, like 200 degrees, something like that.
Gotcha, okay.
And then it's literally just a warm environment to let bread rise.
Okay.
I got you.
That is the perfect environment to let your sugar dry.
So it's a preset.
It's a preset, yeah.
Okay.
So you can also do it
Like
in
hitting popcorn on a microwave.
That's exactly it. So you
I've
can
done
do
that before. I can do
Yeah.
that.
So you can do it in a dehydrator. That also works. Or you can just let it
okay.
sit in, or you can use sunlight and natural air. But the biggest issue with that is you just have to watch how much sunlight it gets, because sunlight will kill your THC. But at the end of the day, that product
UV.
dries. You stir it, let it dry, stir it, and then you can use it as an infused product, because your alcohol has evaporated, but your THC will be left.
So you've got me. I got one more question. Different note. The nitrous. Is that what we said?
Yeah.
What the hell's that?
Hold on a second. What is there a fancy name for this process? Because you gave me a whole list of fancy names.
I did. So I did.
I'm waiting for some fancy names.
I'm just
here.
over looking for nitrous. I don't know.
The ethanol process, if you were to wash the cannabis very quickly and not leave it in there a very long time, shake as vigorously as you can. I take that back. Shake as lightly as you can and wash it in the shortest amount possible with fresh cannabis. That is called Golden Dragon.
Golden Dragon.
Okay.
Yes, when that cannabis
It's a very
oil,
cool name.
Yeah,
It's a fucking great name.
so when
I think
that
I saw that movie of Bruce Lee, and I'm pretty sure I saw that one.
that tincture itself will come out of the wash gold. It'll look an amber color.
Shit. Okay.
Damn.
It'll be truly an amber color, and I'm sad because I had some that I'd made and I didn't bring it, just to give you an example.
Yeah.
But it truly does come out a perfect gold amber color.
Okay.
So with Green Dragon, you're washing longer. You're washing at a much more vigorous pace, so you're shaking more, and you're cooking off for a longer time.
Okay. What are the benefits of doing one over the other?
Golden Dragon has more terpenes. Golden
So
Dragon
more
has
flavor?
more flavor, and also Golden Dragon technically is supposed to have your essentially more of your fresher, like it has your fresher terpenes, but it also is supposed to have a better flavor profile for mixing
It's
it
almost like
into
a fresh
edibles.
hop beer.
Is it almost like
wet hop?
it's better for cooking?
Yes, because it
more
gives you
complimentary?
because it gives you more flavor. It gives you more of a actual. It extracts more of the flavor, THC, and things in the first wash, other than actually extracting the chlorophyll and all of the fats, lipids, and
Is
things like that.
extracting the chlorophyll why they call the Green Dragon the Green Dragon?
Yes, sir. And then at that point, it then becomes more acrid. it becomes more bitter.
So what's the benefit of doing that necessarily?
You end up with a stronger product.
Oh, gotcha.
That's
okay.
Green Dragon.
So you just fucking
You're washing
shit out of
you're
it.
washing everything out of it.
Okay, I got
Lipids, fats, solids, chlorophyll,
Okay.
everything,
You just
all of it.
strip it.
You're shredding you're making sure that when you're done, that pulp that you've used is going in the trash because there's nothing else left inside of it.
Gotcha. Okay. So you got the golden dragon, you got the green dragon, and then. So what is nitrous?
So, nitrous
Put that
is
in your
one.
car.
And then you smoke it.
If I'm being
turn it on.
100% honest, I have truly never cooked with nitrous. It is one I'm very interested to use.
I don't know anybody that has.
The nitrous style method.
Yeah.
So nitrous is so the whipped cream charges.
yeah, whippets.
Yes, that's exactly it. So that's what's blowing up now, and that's
is.
one of the reasons I hate it, because it's sadly a really bad look for the cannabis industry.
Yeah.
But with that being said, using a nitrous whipped cream charger, you can force infuse using nitrous.
Oh, damn.
You can force infuse anything,
So, okay, for somebody,
almost anything. When I say
hypothetically speaking,
Yes,
if
sir.
somebody at home wanted to do this, what would be the step-by-step process in the minimal amount of instructions?
First, you buy an S10, and then you drop it.
Until the frame is almost touching the
Yes,
ground.
yeah. You have some wheelie bars in the back, and then you turn the nitrous on.
Fucking wheelie
You know what?
bars.
You need a spoiler too. You
Not
need a spoiler.
not the
It doesn't
wheelie
do
bars.
anything, but it probably helps somewhere.
Yeah, but
you know?
no, where you get like the double spoiler, where
Yeah.
you get like two of them on there.
You also need
stack
at
'em.
least 4 12s in the back.
Oh my god, that's fucking awesome.
Wait, I just went back to 1998.
I
I'm
know.
sorry.
So you say that, and I'm thinking like you're gonna take a whipped cream can, and you're going to, I guess you can't fucking.
I don't
just
have
do
a clue.
whippets.
I don't have a clue. I knew some guys in high school. When I was in high school,
I've
they would do
never-
whippets.
I've not
and,
been a whippet
take
per-
take
that
a
sounds
whiff of that, and they
terrible.
would just like fall asleep.
Yeah.
And the next thing you know, 5 minutes later, they wake up and they're just
Yeah.
out of it. But I don't think it was good for you.
Just so y'all can get an example, this is nitrous infused
All right.
green dragon.
Okay.
So, essentially, once again, I am not 100% familiar
Okay.
with this. This is a
You're
new method
you're
for
100%
me.
more familiar than we are.
But I've seen it used a couple times, and I'm very
Okay.
excited to actually try it out. But essentially, if I understand correctly, you're using a nitrous oxide whipped cream dispenser to force infuse cannabinoids into liquor. A New York City bartender was the one who actually started this. His name's Don Lee, and he created a gorgeous transparent emerald booze that actually tasted really good.
Absinthe.
So with nitrous, you have most people think of a whipped cream charger. That is actually exactly what you would need. And you would take your flour and or concentrate, and you would decarb it beforehand. So
Okay.
you would heat it to roughly 224 degrees
Okay.
for about 10 minutes
Okay.
to be able to completely decarboxylate it. And then you add that in, and you add in your alcohol. So when I say Everclear, that's traditionally what most people would use. You do
Pure
not
grain.
have, yes,
Yeah.
you don't have to use Everclear. These recipes prove that. This one is a nitrous infused Blanco tequila.
Okay.
This one is a nitrous infused brandy. We have a nitrous infused gin. You can do whatever high proof or relatively, relative high proof.
But do you
alcohol.
just take like your can of whipped cream and you just fucking spray it in there, or?
So you're adding both of these things to the container themselves, and then you actually charge it, and then you let it sit for 5 minutes to
By
settle.
charge, you mean literally let the gas just go out?
Yes, absolutely. You're literally just using that as a medium to essentially infuse your cannabis into your alcohol.
What? So what? Maybe this is too much. I'm asking too much. But what about that actually like causes the infusion? What in nitrous causes it to infuse? Is it
So
like a chemical reaction?
it is a
or-
chemical reaction. Essentially, from what I can understand, if I understand correctly,
Okay.
you put the cannabis mezcal, or you put the cannabis material and mezcal, or whatever whiskey, brandy, tequila, or gin you want to use,
Okay.
into the container with the canister of the whipped cream canister.
Right.
Screw on the head, charge with nitrous oxide according to the manufacturer's instructions.
Hold what manufacturer is instructing
Exactly.
you on how to infuse like weed with?
So I assume this is to the whipped cream
Okay.
instructions would be my guess.
Okay, that got me.
And then you let the canister sit for 5 minutes. You vent out the pressurized gas, stir the liquid, and then let it sit for a minute until the gas boils off. And at this point, the liquor will be imbued with cannabis flavor. But it will not have developed much THC potency at this time. The next step, which is where you would do a double boiler method, that is where you're increasing your THC percentage because you're cooking off the excess alcohol.
Okay, that makes sense. Okay.
So at that point, it doesn't matter if you're putting it into a cocktail because you're obviously going to use it for other purposes, would be my guess. Or you just want it to be as strong as possible using that medium.
I got you.
So yeah.
Okay. That is very interesting. That is not like a layman's or like a regular person's method
Not at all.
Of wanting to infuse. There are much simpler methods.
Yes,
but that is interesting.
That's very highfalutin.
That is that's more than highfalutin.
That's very,
that's
very
like
much
Walter
so.
Whitefalutin.
Yes.
That is more than that, yes. Even
For
more.
sure.
Yeah.
So that essentially just gives you like your base, essentially a impatient person's method to infusing alcohol,
Gotcha.
I guess things like that.
Okay.
You have a glycerin cannabis tincture method, which to just, I guess, give you the
You take that if you're having a heart attack.
right
Glycerin. I
Just to
think.
give you the base terms of it, it's vegetable glycerin. So you're using it's more of a sugar alternative.
So probably
Is
not
that
if you're
like
having
the
a heart
honey method you were talking
Yes.
about? Okay.
So essentially, this one you wouldn't do you would be able to do this and it would work as a tincture, but it would be sweet. And you could also use this in a liquid form. So if you wanted to infuse drinks, things like that, this would also work just the same as a alcohol tincture would without having to cook off
And
the
you
alcohol.
also said you can use fats as well.
Yes,
Coconut
but you
oil.
can't use fats as a tincture. So I guess
Cannot
you
use
can't.
fats?
You cannot.
Okay.
Yeah, you cannot. Because fats don't actually work as a tincture method. The tincture method is where you would take a drop to 2 drops in the mouth underneath the tongue kind of thing, which is why I don't agree with the method of using Everclear because Everclear is so strong and high proof, it burns.
Right.
So that's the way you consume this.
Right.
Just 2 drops. There's
You
nothing
would just
else.
literally, for people who don't smoke or really eat edibles, you would just take a couple drops in the mouth underneath the tongue in a glass of something. Maybe even chase it with
just
something.
thinking ahead, like how long would it take to interact?
It being an alcohol, a soluble thing, it would probably be relatively immediate. It'd probably be within 5 minutes, 5 to 10 minutes, because you think about it absorbing into your
That's what I was
bloodstream.
thinking,
Yeah.
like just hit you hard, right? Like, with that.
It's essentially...
If you take a shot, a
Yes.
shot of Everclear, within 5 minutes you're feeling it
Right.
for sure.
So it's essentially the one step away from RSO, which is Rick Simpson oil, which is a old school method of
I know
taking...
Rex Chapman. Same thing.
So it's an old school method
Homer
of taking
Simpson, is that
Everclear extractions and then you double boil it to the point where there's no alcohol left, and what's left is the concentrated gooey plant matter, essentially. And that method was introduced by Rick Simpson to give to people in what's like a syringe, like a blunt tip syringe. Right. You would actually eat it, the right sized
Little
amount,
dropper,
and it would give you the same effects that most people would need for cannabis patients.
Okay.
So that's where it really started. People who need high dose edibles.
quick.
Yes,
without being able to
quick.
smoke or
can't
something.
smoke, can't eat. Yes. So cannabis or cancer patients are the main person you'd probably see
Okay.
use something like that.
Probably a lot of people that could benefit from like a hospice into life kind of
sir.
thing, Think
Absolutely.
about that.
So that's why tinctures are such a big thing for people, because you can truly use it right then and there. It's pretty much immediate.
It is just wild how many uses there are for this and how many methods to get that into your system.
I
Different
agree.
ways.
We were kind of all over the place, but we
were,
talked
but
about
still,
the Golden Dragon, which is probably my favorite. And it sounds like the most kind of like, well, it's like the most approachable, but it sounds like it's the fairest way to do it, especially if you're trying to cook with cannabis,
I mean, obviously, other than your fats, yeah. That's what I feel like. That's what most people are, would assume. Yeah, I was gonna say.
And then you got the Green Dragon, which is like the Golden Dragon on fucking steroids. Yep. And then we talked about doing like the honey method, the sweet method with the glycerin.
Yes.
And then the nitrous, which is fucking way out there. And the fats, which I'm still kind of confused about, like that. You can actually use that to infuse, but it's not a tincture.
Yes.
But I guess that's an option.
So I guess the biggest way to describe that is THC Cannabinoids are fat soluble. Cannabis is fat soluble,
Right.
Instead of being water soluble, obviously,
'Cause
like
it
I
is
said
an oil,
before,
yeah.
right? It is an oil. So the trichomes themselves float in water, but they're absorbed into fat.
Right.
So if you were to take a nug, chop it, and cook it with bacon, that bacon fat in that pan
Would just absorb some of the THC from the nug, and then
right. You have
even
cannabis,
vice versa, really.
right? So you then are left with cannabis infused bacon fat.
Okay.
So that is the main, but it's also
I see. Okay, so that's actually an even more basic way,
right.
honestly. When
but
you
it's
put it that
also
way.
your most.
I see.
It's
I
your
got
most
you.
efficient infusion method.
I got
is the
you.
best way
Okay.
to describe
I think I was thinking of it differently when you first explained it, but that
Yes.
actually is very simple.
Yeah, if you ask any chef or anybody who's
just heard
ever
bacon. I
truly,
like bacon.
that's just one that most people
Yeah.
would think of. It's like, oh yeah, bacon, sure, I want that. But if you think of cannabis itself, if you know anybody who actually truly cooks with cannabis, it is normally coconut oil, and it's normally unrefined coconut oil because that is the most common infusion.
I think the main times I've heard people cooking with cannabis has been like brownies. I always
Yep.
heard that.
Yep.
So I guess that's oil, like you
Yes.
just fat soluble into that.
Absolutely.
Okay.
That's really normally that is the most traditional way that
That's
you'll
probably
find.
the most I've ever heard, like pot
Yes.
brownies. People would say.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So my thing is, I'm looking to venture out well beyond.
Oh, for sure. No,
what
no,
most people think of.
I'm just saying what
For
I'm
sure.
hearing,
No,
but
for sure.
You're way above that.
But if you think of anybody who's like, hey, I want like a brownie, or I want a, like a lollipop or some kind of thing like that. I'm thinking of, what about ramen? What about having, like a peanut butter and jelly sandwich cookie, or like what about having a, like an infused
Peanut butter
cocktail?
jelly sandwich cookie. Do you have any right now?
You're actually getting me really hungry. Oh, I've had some terpenes, but I'm very hungry.
But no,
Terpenes were good too, by the way.
They were very good. Orange creamsicle, yeah.
But no, I'm definitely looking to do well beyond the normal average thing. Chicken wings, that kind of
Sure.
thing. Like, any kind of
Yeah.
like.
Well, the hot sauce
yeah.
when they're out, like blend that in with because I guess traditional wing sauce has butter in it.
Yes.
So
So,
I'd be-
absolutely.
yeah,
That would
yeah.
but that can be something for sure.
Well, you
for
know what
sure.
we should do? We should actually talk about your top 5 recipes, and let's do a little bit more on this. This was going to be like a 2-part episode. I don't know if this
Might
should
be
be like a
4,
6-part
6.
episode. Maybe we'll do like an extended cut
Yeah.
and then like an abbreviated cut for like the normal releases. So, we're going to take a little break, and then we're going to come back with Pierre, and we're going to talk about some actual recipes using some of his infusion methods that we discussed here. So until then, we'll see you on the next one.